Who cares? No, seriously, who cares? If you've been online at all last week, you know that the Magic community has been in an uproar about the recent One Ring art that was unveiled on the first of this month. But why? Spike here, and I just wanted to go over the One Ring situation and just share my thoughts, and maybe if you're comfortable, get your thoughts on the matter. Spoiler, just to get out of the way, I personally care, but I don't fault you if you don't. So let's break this down and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. So, first off, this is somewhat old news on the internet, right? And quite frankly, with the state of the world, do we really have time to care about a piece of art on a cardboard that was unveiled a whole week and some change ago? Yes, maybe. My goal is to help the audience understand why this art is problematic while also not telling you what to think. Because frankly, I'm not interested in trying to morally grandstand. I just want to create more empathy in my online spaces and allow y'all to make your own decisions because we are all adults here. I see my metrics. You're all adults playing a children's card game. On May 1st, Wizards released an article titled Collecting Magic: The Gathering, The Hobbit, A First Look. In it, we saw some exciting new cards, but what stood out was Middle Earth Classic Artist cards. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, cool, One Ring art. It'd be my third choice of art, but if it made it more accessible, then so be it. On top of that, it was done by the legendary Dan Frazier, known for a lot of his classic arts in Magic the Gathering cards, particularly also known for his hand paintings on marbleized paper. It wasn't until the online community did their detective work that they realized, hold the phone, this isn't original art. Now pause. Do I like the online mob? No. Oftentimes, it just feels like people who lean on visceral emotions to hurl anger at people. But what they found here was genuinely concerning, if true. Now, I remember my reaction to this. I like to remain skeptical on things. This is Dan Frazier. He doesn't need to do this. He's a capable artist and he knows the artist culture and their stance on stealing. He wouldn't do this, right? And seriously, guys, how many ways can you draw a ring? How wouldn't they not look the same? The next day, Wizards lets the cat out of the bag. Dan painted over the art of Martha Nail. Now, at this point, I'm probably the same like y'all. Maybe he just wanted a consistent shape and made it his own. I mean, I'm not chronically online. I don't have to Google search the image. Dan and Wizards have common sense. Then I finally saw the ring side by side, and it wasn't just the shape. He literally took the shadowing. Looking at the shadowing inside the ring, you can see it's near identical to Marta's original art. On the outside as well, you can see where Dan washes out the lettering that Marta had placed on the ring itself without even adjusting the shadows on the outside. So, if you looked at the ring with a new pair of eyes, you would realize that the shadowing didn't even make sense from Dan's art that he was providing. This was literally just a paint over rip from Marta. From this point on, at least from my perspective, what Dan did was pretty indefensible at that point. It was literally just stealing her art and making a profit off of it. Now, if y'all feel different, like I said, I'm not morally going to grandstand. Whatever you feel is valid, right? You're going to have your own justifications. That's not the point of this video. My point is just to put emphasis on who does care about this matter and also just to talk about why do they care. So let's get into it. So in trying to understand this matter, I went through my personal circle. I got some Magic players and some artists, particularly in graphic apparel and commission art, and I wanted to get their perspective. And who do you think I found? Was it some greedy artists who were out of touch and some people who wanted to be morally righteous in the eyes of the internet? No. Most of the artists I spoke to said that what Dan did, in the artist community's eyes, was just frowned upon stealing. Plagiarism. It was literally taking someone else's work and putting your name on it for profit. There was just not sufficient transformation. What was worse was that Dan was such a titan of the industry and could have easily gotten away with it with no repercussions. What most artists seemed to want was to be credited to their work and effort. An affirmation that their training and years of struggle to be recognized could not be washed away by someone borrowing their art. It's taken seriously amongst their community because they find it so essential to prevent the soulless, heartless norms of other industries to be the norm in their own industry. It's honor amongst men, essentially, and women as well. In that sense, I get it. It's like when you take your whole family out to Mother's Day and your stupid brother just takes all the credit even though you drove and paid for everything. Stupid Mark. Sorry, oddly specific. Anyways, but it's like that, but scaled up by 1,000. And then tie in your professional work and your professional reputation all together, all into it. With that said, it makes a lot more sense why artists seem to care about this matter. But why do Magic players care? They didn't paint it, they're just playing with it. After speaking with my playgroup and seeing what folks had to say online, it became apparent that the reason why Magic players are so protective of their artists and art is because art is an essential thread in Magic. Oftentimes, it's the art that pulled them into the game, and it was the gameplay that kept them. They wouldn't have played the game in the first place if the art didn't appeal to them. Most Magic players want to continue to see good art on their cards and to ensure that the best artists are working on them, that good artists are treated well and keep coming back to make more art. Additionally, most Magic players are working adults. We know the feeling of what it feels like to have someone else, like a boss or a manager, take credit for our work. Art is one of those rare bastions where this is still seen as unacceptable, and as a community, we would want to keep it that way. Lastly, most Magic players don't want to have their favorite game to be known for abusing their artists and stealing their art, so in that sense, it's very understandable. So, going back to the question, who cares? Well, artists care, Magic players care. And it's not for cliche reasons either. It's for actual, genuine reasons that are very people specific and game specific. But yeah, I only covered this just to share different perspectives. I don't intend to change anyone's mind, but hopefully, by getting other people's perspective, maybe that might change your mind. Well, anyways, I hope you guys had fun with this video. I had fun with this video. Have a wonderful day.